Today's Sunday, March 22nd, and this is news from the Frunk. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of News from the Frunk. Today we're going to talk about software version 6.2. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about the other thing that's coming in 6.2, and these are active safety features. Now these apply only to cars that have the new autopilot hardware, so that would be any car built after October 2014, give or take. So those new cars already have collision warning. It now has emergency, what they call automatic emergency braking. So if the car detects that a collision is likely, it will automatically apply the brakes. Now it will disengage the brakes if you touch the accelerator pedal, the brake pedal, or you turn the steering wheel sharply, but otherwise the car will take control of the brakes and bring you to a halt. Now the other thing is blind spot warning. Between 20 miles an hour and 85 miles an hour, the vehicle, if the car detects that there's a vehicle in the blind spot, it'll put up a new display around the circular instrument cluster. And if a collision becomes likely, it will show two red arcs, the steering wheel will vibrate, and it will sound an audible warning. Now Elon went on to talk about software version 7. So 6.2 is coming hopefully sometime in the next 30 days or so. 7 should come out in the late June, July time frame. He talked about some specific features in 7. He also talked about a few other features, and it wasn't quite clear whether he was talking about 6.2 or 7. So let's talk about what is definitely coming in version 7. First of all, there's a UI overhaul. So there's a lot of new functionality coming that's going to cause Tesla to have to do some updates to that user interface. So that's going to be coming in the 7.0 software. But the big one is what Tesla calls auto steering. So they have been testing between San Francisco and Seattle. They've now got to the point where the car requires virtually no driver input at all to get all the way along that route. Well, that is coming in 7.0. So I think the intention is, what Elon said is that the current generation of hardware that's in new cars today is good enough for automatic steering and predominantly on the freeway, but isn't good enough for fully autonomous driving. So that suggests there's going to be another generation of car coming out at some point. I don't think it's imminent, with yet more sensors that would enable fully autonomous. So for the time being, the concern was that around a neighborhood where there may be kids playing, running out into the streets, that the current sensor array isn't sufficiently capable to do that fully autonomously and guarantee, 5 or 6 nines of accuracy. And so for the time being, they're going to limit it. But you will be able to do freeway driving in the middle of 2015 without touching the steering wheel or the accelerator or brake. And with things like the traffic-aware cruise control, the ability to overtake simply by flicking the indicator, you can potentially go hundreds of miles, certainly from supercharger to supercharger, and the car will just do everything for you. Now, he did say that it is autopilot, and as with a plane, there is an expectation that the pilot will still be monitoring things. It isn't set and forget. And so the goal will be that you can't just put the seat back and fall asleep. You will still be responsible for the safety of the vehicle, but you will switch from being an active driver to being a passive driver and simply monitoring things as the car makes its way down the freeway. Now the other thing that will enable is self-parking and summoning. Now this will only be available on private property because it's illegal on public roads, certainly in most states. I think there may be a couple of states that allow fully autonomous driving, but Tesla won't have certified the car to meet those standards. But on private property, you will be able to pull up, get out of the car, and then press a button on the iPhone app that will, the car will open the garage door, park itself in the garage and close the garage door and put itself to sleep. Likewise, the opposite is also true. On a morning, you can push a button on the app and it will open the garage door, pull itself out, set itself to whatever temperature you've set, and close the garage door, ready to go off to work. So pretty cool stuff. Now, a few other things that are coming, and I'm not sure whether these are 6.2 or 7.0. First of all is something that's been asked for a very long time, which is Valet Mode. Now, this may be coming in 6.2 just from the way that the press release was written. So this limits the performance, it restricts access to certain settings, it restricts access to the private information, things like the calendar that may have been uploaded from your phone and contacts and things like that. So simply by pressing a button, it enables Valet Mode, it puts a limit on speed, it locks the glove box and the frunk so that people can't get in there, and it disables access to things like home link settings. Now, a couple of other things that I'm not sure whether in 6.2 or 7. One is that we should get much better audio quality, and this applies to all cars. So Tesla has rewritten the audio codec, so it doesn't matter whether you have the standard audio, like I do in mine, or the ultra high fidelity audio. Elon is saying that sound quality should be much better. The radio reception should also be much better. They've rewritten the radio software, and that should apply to all cars as well. And he says there are all kinds of other things that are nuanced improvements and feel to the accelerator and brake, and a few other things. He said he didn't want to announce those things yet, so it sounded like they were things that were maybe coming in 7. But what we definitely have in 6.2 is the new range assurance, the enhanced trip planning, the automatic emergency braking, and the blind spot warning, with obviously the provisos I talked about earlier about probably needing the navigation option, and obviously those emergency features only apply to cars that have the autopilot hardware. So, one last thing, Elon said the goal is to have major software updates every 3 or 4 months, with bug fixes coming in between those. So lots to look forward to. Watch out for 6.2. It's probably going to start hitting cars pretty soon. And if you want to listen to the press conference that I pulled all that information from, there's a link in the notes down below. That's all I got. If I get an update from Tesla on whether the navigation is actually required or not, I will update this video. But I'll be back in the next News from the Frunk with some more general news updates. See you soon.